What we're going to start with is, should the Patriots consider trading up for the number 1 pick in the NFL draft? Should that be a consideration for your Patriots? With that Pat Patriot logo on your sweatshirt today, Zo.
Yes? No. No.
No?
No.
Why?
Sit at 3. Sit at 3. Who are you in love with? Who are you in love with? What, Caleb Williams? Really? You know what? I saw Caleb Williams throw his shirt off the other day in a workout at USC. I'm like, that can't be Caleb Williams. Because all I hear is people rip Jaden Daniels because he's too skinny. He doesn't have enough weight on. I'm like, that guy is going to take hits at the next level? Wow. Not Jaden Daniels. I'm talking about Caleb Williams. You think Jaden Daniels is skinny and thin? Boy.
Okay. But
I mean, who are we trading up for?
Well, I want to go back to what you said yesterday. And what you said yesterday was, don't take a quarterback at 3 if you don't love him.
I agree.
And you said, if you need to trade up to 2 to get your guy, then trade up to 2.
I'd move to 2.
What if they, and I know you don't love Caleb Williams, but what if the people making the decision, and again, the Patriots don't even know who that person is right now, but what if the decision maker says, I don't think Drake May is going to be a great quarterback. I don't think Jaden Daniels is going to be a great quarterback, but I believe that Caleb Williams will be a great quarterback in this league and will make us a contender for years to come. He is a generational talent. We need him. Well, how do you argue against that, based on what you said yesterday?
Because of your roster, period. You have so many holes. You don't have the luxury at this point.
You're contradicting yourself.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
Because I even threw it out there yesterday to trade back.
And I'll
trade
tell
back
you
and
why
acquire
you
picks.
Are. Because you agree with me that you have nothing without the quarterback piece.
True.
So you take a lesser quarterback that may not pan out because you want to use other picks at some other point this year, next year, whatever capital you'd give up to go get Caleb Williams?
No, my point is you have a premier player at receiver that's going to be available at 3. We all know that. There's going to be tackles available. There's going to be offensive talent available in the top 10 picks. At your disposal, right there for you. I'm just saying, if somebody goes nuts and takes Daniels at 2, say the Commanders take him at 2, and that was your guy, that's where you go up to get him, right there at 2. Just move up 1. I'm not just going to take Drake May to take Drake May if I got him ranked in a 3rd. All right,
so you're willing to trade up to 2,
we'll
but
settle
not
again.
trade up to 1.
We took the 5th quarterback a couple years ago at 15.
I don't get it.
You don't have enough talent. You don't have enough bodies. You know what you're going to have to go? Even to go from 3 to 1. Do you know what you're going to have to give up?
A lot. You're going to have to give up a lot to go from 3 to 2.
To get one guy.
If you're going to have to go 3 to 2 and give up a lot, why wouldn't you go from 3 to 1? Which is why I say, if they think Caleb Williams is the guy, and I know he's got baggage.
Doesn't feel that way.
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever his situation is and demands are and all of that stuff, I say do it. If that's who you believe is the guy and that's the guy you're going to have the conviction on, go for it. Go all out. Go up to number 1. Go nuts. Trade away. You can't say you could trade up to 2, but then say don't trade up to 1.
And he'll get
I don't know
killed.
how you could do that.
I mean, I like picking a guy in the first round because you have control of the guy. Let's see what they learned from the last mistake about getting a rookie on a 5-year deal or 5 years of control, meaning with Mac Jones, and they completely screwed up that window of we're going to put a lot of talent around him. We're going to put a lot of talent around him because this is the way. You look at Seattle when they went to the Super Bowl. They had the money down on the quarterback, and they were able to build their defense. They were able to get some guys to catch the football. You were able to pay Marshawn Lynch and all that. No, we blew it. We blew that 3-year Mac window. That's the spot where, hey, we could spend on other parts of the roster. And you didn't do that. Did you learn from that? From an organizational standpoint, from ownership on down, and whether it's Macro, whether it's Elliott Wolf, who operated under Bill and learned a lot from Bill, but maybe they would pick differently than Bill. Let's see what they learned from that mistake. Because you got an opportunity here to get a guy in the first round. And I honestly, if you do get a guy in the third, with the 3rd pick, fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not saying don't do it. I'd take Marvin Harrison. I'd try and get back into the bottom of the 1st and get a quarterback. And you still have control of the guy for 5 years.
So is what you're saying is that there is not a quarterback up there that you feel is worthy of the Patriots trading up to 2 or 1. You'd be content with sitting at 3, knowing you might not get the guy that you want and taking Marvin Harrison instead. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not a draft analyzer, but all I've done is sit here and I've heard from guys like Breer and the drop-off after the third guy. The top three guys are kind of all right there, maybe with Williams and a little bit separated to the top. But they're all kind of right there. And Daniels is coming up the board like crazy. He might go 2 or 1. Who knows?
And if that's your guy, you got to get to 1.
All I hear is there's a drop-off after that. So they're there. Why do you need to go to 1 if they're all kind of the same? See, there's no Andrew Luck in this thing where, boy, it's Andrew Luck and then everybody else.
Well, I think Caleb Williams is pretty much the consensus guy who's at the top of the heap.
I think so, but I think the gap's closed. It feels like, to me, the gap's closed with Daniels. Like, he's making a push.
Here's what Mike Giardi and Phil Perry had to say about it last night on NBC Sports Boston.
As we've seen here, you look at the playoffs right now. I know Purdy is the sort of the guy that doesn't really fit the mold, but everybody else, their first-round picks, these are guys that you built your team around. They're franchise guys. I think you need that. I think you just went through the process with a guy that we thought was pretty good, and it turned out, well, the last 2 years he wasn't good at all. You don't wait. And again, the cost, you're right, it's going to be high, but at least you're at 3. So if you're going to 2, it's probably not going to cost as much. If you're going to 1, it's probably not going to cost as much. But Phil, if I believe that Caleb Williams is light years ahead of Jaden Daniels and Drake May, I make the phone call.
If you believe that, then sure, I would support it. Go for it. Do it. I just don't think that's the case. I don't think there is a huge chasm that separates all 3 of these guys. I think they're all legitimate number 1 overall types of quarterbacks had it been a different year. You want to go back to the Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota year? Like, one of these guys would have been, probably should have been drafted ahead of these 2. They are that good. And so to me, it's not just a few picks. You also have to look at where this team is. You're talking about giving up a future second, a future first, a current second potentially, just to move up and get a guy who might be marginally better than the guy who gets to you at 3.
What if it's not marginally better? What if there is a big gap?
You feel there is?
No, I don't personally, but
okay.
I am just saying that if you believe that they should do it with conviction and they should really target a guy instead of just taking who is at 3, then you got to be all in on them moving up to 2 or 1.
That's fair off what I kind of said yesterday.
Yeah, it is.
Like
thank you.
If this is the guy of the future and you fall in love with the guy, I'd rather them get their guy, but I also know that the state of the team is not good enough to where you're San Francisco and you could sacrifice 3 first-round picks and move up. That team was already good. They were built the right way. You're not built the right way. You got problems.
Right. You don't
have the luxury. Going in, there's got to be it written down. We are not trading up. Can't do it. We need picks.
Personally,
more picks.
All 3 of those guys at the top, I think they can all play. I think they can all make for good NFL quarterbacks, and I'd be happy with any of them.
Okay.
That's how I would approach it, but I don't. That's not being you were on me for not doing that with conviction. Like, I get it.
That's fair.
I get it.
That's fair.
And I would just say that if they believe there is a guy in there,
then fall in love with all 3.
And they fall in love with one of them, then they should go after him wherever he is. I agree with that. I get what you're saying.
Study everything, though. Like, look at the ages. Do your homework. Look at the charts. Look where everybody has them ranked. And if there's really not that much separation, then sit tight. Sit tight. Don't force yourself to fall in love with somebody. You know it when you see it. Like when you turn on a tape or you go and work a guy out in person. That's the big thing, man. The workouts in person and those pro days, they're going to be big for these guys.
Sure.
Because you're going to be like, oh, well, can't throw that in cut like we thought he could. Or, Jesus, this kid's got a rocket. Look at Zach Wilson and that stupid roll left and throw back to the right. Everybody was in love with it.
Plus, I think
we're going to draft him number 1 overall, maybe.
I think the interview process will be big for all of these guys,
will.
too. Right? You hear all these things about Caleb Williams. What's true, what isn't. They'll find out. Right? They'll find out when they sit him down.
Yeah, they're not stupid.
And maybe he turns out to be the perfect kind of guy to be your franchise quarterback and has all the right, personality traits and mental traits and whatever they look for in these guys when they sit them down.
Ryan Leaf fooled people.
How fast can he process, what he's looking at defensively, all this stuff. All of it.
Yep.
That'll be big for them. And if they fall in love with one of these guys, well, I just want them to get it right. That's what I want. They're privy to more information than any of us. They've got to get it right. And if it costs them to get the quarterback, then go all in. And forget waiting around to take a wide receiver at 3. Get your quarterback. You're right there. You're right on the edge. Get the QB and get the right one. Chances are one of them won't work out of those top 3. right?
Odds are pretty good, yeah.
The odds are good that at least one of them won't work out.
Might be two of them, to be totally
Right.
honest.
It's pretty scary when you go back and look at the drafts where 3 to 4 guys go in the top 10, and it's rare maybe one guy sticks.
Right. I mean,
It's crazy.
2 out of those 3 guys probably won't be able to hack it, which if you feel you have the one guy who can hack it, you got to go up to get him at number 1.
Jury's still out on Trevor Lawrence. Here's some issues with that guy. He ain't
Or
perfect.
if it's not Caleb Williams and it's either Drake May or Jaden Daniels, you might have to go to 2. Fair?
Fair, but I don't want to take that
I
chance.
think Caleb Williams not going 1 is going to be a massive upset.
I agree. See,
If he
that's
were to not go number 1.
I probably wouldn't go up to number 1 because I don't believe in Caleb Williams. I just don't. I mean, the makeup concerns are there. Look at USC without him.
Look at the big games. Look at the competition. When the competition got better, how he played.
They were better without him. So I don't think you need to move up to number 1 because I think really it's May or Daniels.